Casanova.
Casanova.
Talk to me about him. He was just hit with an attempted murder charge by the feds.
Yeah, so I'm back talking about, Casanova again. I mean, I talked about him earlier. He's in a tough situation right now because the feds just hit him with a superseding indictment. That means he was already indicted for his racketeering and the gun case that he had with the federal government.
Right.
And now they superseded the indictment with another charge against him for murder, shooting that happened in Miami when he was with another individual outside of a club. I think the King of Diamonds, it was called.
Right.
And the guy who was with him, Casanova had words with the individual, and the guy with him shot him. Now, they're linking Casanova to that because they're probably saying that he's acting in concert. For people that don't know what that means when you're out committing a crime and you commit it you commit it by both being involved. Like, for example, I think the guy said something about gang signs that Casanova may threw up, and then he said, this is the wrong gang sign, homie, something like that, and then Casanova had words with him, and then his boy shot him. Now, whether Casanova gave the order to shoot him or the guy just was with him and they were together and attacked the guy, it's sort of like an acting in concert situation. So they linked Casanova to it, so they must have had enough evidence to say that the government said, well, you were part of this, so we're charging you with the murder as well. And then they think he got hit with another shooting that happened also. I forget where, but they hit him with another shooting that they tacked on also on the indictment. So he was raising $2.5 million because a lot of these guys are getting money, getting people to bail them out. Like, the streets is coming through for a lot of guys. It just shows you how much money is out here. Right. And, he was about to be bailed out or trying to get bailed, but now as a result of it, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be in jail for a while. I think he's down because he feels the government's coming after him. They're just looking to ruin him, to destroy him, to break him down. But this is what happens sometimes, man, when you're involved with certain individuals. You have to, I always tell these rap artists that I talk to, and some of them listen to me, some don't. You're out here to make money. You're out here to have a career, man. Once you move up into that level where you're that type of rapper or A-list rapper or whatever, you're supposed to be out here making money, doing what you're supposed to be doing to further your career, so that you could have a longevity in the profession that you chose. Right. But a lot of these guys, they go sideways and they get back into the streets with the street guys, and that's what their downfall is. They all start to go back to their roots, sometimes with drugs, with shootings, with gangs, and then they get caught out there and then they do time,
Right, I know you were telling me last night, a lot of these guys aren't built to take that amount of time. A lot of these guys are. And Casanova's not a young guy, and I'm sure he doesn't want to go back and do all that time. These guys can't do time like that, man. You get out of jail in 10 years, the whole world's changed in 10 years, Right.
You don't know what this world is like anymore. It's different now. And suppose you have kids or you have your mother of your child or girlfriend, they're not going to wait for you. Right. Not in today's society, the way these girls are today. They're not waiting for nobody. But it's just the way things are. If you're out here committing these type of crimes, you got to understand what the punishment that comes along with it. So That's what happens.
Now it seems like he was ready to fight this, go to trial, and he was setting up to the amount of money to post for bail, and then boom, they hit him with this attempted murder charge. Now, in my eyes, I've seen this before. They charge you when you're not taking a plea, and they're trying to really squeeze you. They mount all these charges on you, and this was one of them, right?
Well, the government does have a way when they bring you in and they arrest you and you don't cooperate or you're not cooperating, they have ways and means of making you cooperate. And this is one of those ways where, okay, you coming up with this money for bail, you're looking to go in front of a magistrate. Well, guess what? Now we're going to hit you with a superseding charge, another indictment, to ensure that you stay in jail. And you're right. This is the leverage that they put on these guys to make them cooperate. Now, in his situation, he's probably got a good attorney. I'm pretty sure he does. He's probably got a high-powered attorney that's working for him. He's got to prove that he wasn't involved in this gang, and I don't know how hard he's going to get out of that, especially, remember, there were 18 members of this gang arrested. Right. Now, out of these 18 guys that were arrested, people are going to talk. I don't care if it's the littlest guy to the guy who has the most to lose, people are going to talk in this crew. Some people already cooperated. Some people already cooperated because they don't want to spend time in jail. They're not built for it. And the streets has to understand this. It's different. The government took down the mafia. You don't think that they could take out these dudes in this rap game?
Right.
If they took out the mafia and what they were doing back in those days, it's sort of hand in hand, you know, like, you know, the lifestyles that these guys live, these organizations that they become involved with, it becomes very difficult, man, to maintain that, you know? I mean, you would think these dudes would be out, like you said, trying to make money, travel, see all the girls and, you know, the bitches that they always say they want to see,
Right.
and be whatever. But they get caught up in this crazy stuff, and then next thing you know, they're in jail for a long time. Now, I don't know what kind of defense his lawyers probably got no choice now but to go to trial with this. Or, you know, or he could take a plea, but his lawyers may have to sit with him, and based on the co-defendants that he has and what they said to the government, if the government has 4 to 5 or 10 cooperators and they all name you as far as this gang, you're screwed. There's nothing he could do. If these cooperators come forward and they start telling, well, yeah, we were part of the gang and he was part of the gang too, because you know that's what they're going to do,
Right.
then he's got no choice but to do what he has to do, take a plea, and then see if he could cooperate and get out. I know a lot of the streets doesn't like to hear that, and the streets always says, yo, man, nobody's a snitch, I ain't snitching, but every guy says that.
Right.
Until they get caught, until they go to jail, and then they snitch. Look, in the thing with Tekashi 6ix9ine again.
And Shotty, yeah.
And Shotty went to jail. He's doing his time, but I'm sure, like, I don't know if you read, I read that he's down to his last money. He has no more money left to even afford a good attorney to appeal.
Right.
So he's screwed. He's done. They know how to weaken you, man, and take you down and take you apart. So Tekashi's out here doing this thing now. Why? And, you know, people call him a rat and whatever, but, like, again, he wasn't built to do that time, you know, and Casanova's sort of in the same situation. How it's going to play out, I would have to think that, like, again, I said, his attorney will probably tell him what he has against him, what the cooperators are saying, because if the cooperators are all implicating him in various crimes or various, in him being involved in this organization, he's screwed.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Can they, as far as his co-conspirator, his co-defendants, can they, his co-defendants that took the pleas, can they be used against Casanova's trial and, like,
of course, yeah, of course. What they'll do, like they did with Tekashi 6ix9ine, they made him testify. So the same thing applies with these individuals with Casanova. If they go on a stand and they're going to testify against them, because that's part of the plea agreement. The plea agreement is the government is going to give you this amount of time, but if they say jump, you got to jump. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the way it works.
Now, what do you, if you could talk to Casanova, what would you advise him? Like, would you just, can he still, is it too late in the game to take a plea? Like, what would you tell him?
I don't think it's too late. I don't know what the government really has in store for him, but right now the case has been there for a while, and the government may say, they may give you an offer to take a plea, and you might not have done it back then. So they might say, you know what, we don't need him anymore. We don't need him to take a plea. He didn't, you know, the government does that. You know, in the state, when you below trial, because a lot of defendants know this.
Right.
When you don't cooperate, they say, okay, well, we put the deal on the table for you and you refused it. So now, guess what? We don't need you anymore. We got enough evidence to take you down, and we're going to present it. So that's how they do it.
Wow.
And the same thing will apply for him. They will take the deal off the table, or if his lawyers can resurrect some type of agreement, maybe this happens. But I don't know. I mean, anything is possible. And as you saw with Fetty, how he's out, and he's going to fight his case. But I don't know. It's tough when the government has a case like this, and people in the streets need to know this. You know, nobody's untouchable out here. You could get caught, and you could get caught in the same situation if you're out here doing what people say you're doing. If you're involved in drugs, firearms, violence. Violence means shootings, stabbings, anything that has to deal with you, with your organization, when you order or you give guys orders to do things, or you further your business by doing X, Y, and Z, they're going to come after you. So the word is to stay clean, man, to stay away from that. You see, there's certain rappers that you see never get in trouble. Like, you know, I mean, listen, I like a few favorites. I mean, Chris Brown is one of my favorites. He's been into a lot of problems, but he hasn't been in those type of problems. Drake hasn't been in those problems. Jay-Z definitely is not even looking back at those problems, you know? He's got too much money. Puffy, all of them. Puff's been through a lot of stuff too, and he's not going back to that. He's a businessman. He's looking to, you know, he's very wealthy right now. He's doing very well for himself, you know? He's changed his life, his ways. You don't hear anything about him anymore, really. So that's what these guys need to do. They need to go out, get themselves together, and try to be positive, man, and, you know, try to be positive role models. But I think with certain rappers, it becomes too late. You come out, like, look at Tekashi. I mean, he came back out again, and I don't know how well he's doing with music or charts. I think he's getting residuals because he has his music still being played on radios and stuff, but I don't think his album did that well when he came out, you know?
Right.
So who knows? I mean, look, Travis Scott again. I kind of feel bad for Travis Scott in a way because this really wasn't his fault about Astroworld. But by the same token, a lot of things are going to be used against him. Prior bad acts, prior things that he did at other shows. And this is more of a civil thing. This is not criminal because they're not going to charge him criminally. This is more of a civil problem. So now you have lawsuits, torts, as they call them. And the lawyers are going to come after him with everything they got. They already have, I don't know if they have 150 lawsuits pending or something right now. Somebody told me.
Yeah.
Maybe even more, and there's more to come. You know, everybody's going to sue. Everybody that was there that had one little injury is going to sue. And, you know, he set up, I saw today, he set up an email so people can contact him, and he's not about that. But, yo, this has got to be devastating to the guy, man, because now you see what happens. Things happen, tragic things happen, and you go, listen, there were everybody's getting sued, not just him, but the security, but Live Nation, Drake. And Drake is probably saying, oh, man, how did I get caught up in this? You know, I came out as a special guest for this guy's show. And look, now I'm caught up in this. You know, now he's got to defend himself, you know? So it's just that these guys just got to be smarter with certain things and try to word certain things if they go to do these concerts with people. And, you know, the preparedness of doing security at these events have to be different as well. These promoters, organizers, venues, they have to come up with a contingency plan if something happens. And I know it's hard because I don't like to second guess people because, you know, I wasn't there. So it was just probably too many people in such a crowded space that just became a problem. So now they're going to have to like you know how you have pens, when you have pens set up, and you're going to have to allow 100 people per pen, like where there's room to breathe and move, or exit areas where they can exit out or escape out if there's an emergency. They got to be some kind of future plans done with organizers at these events, because you just can't have an open field and let everybody crowd in. It just doesn't work like that. Right. You know?
Let me ask you, going back to the, you had mentioned that the feds maybe be like, oh, you know, pluck it. Let's just try him. We don't even need his plea. But don't you think at the same time, don't they try to avoid going to trial because it does take a lot of resource and money to go to trial? So
well, the feds will try to avoid a trial. The best thing to do right now is for him to say, okay, I'm going to take a plea, and maybe they'll give him a certain amount of time because he's already been in for a little while already.
Right.
They'll give him maybe some extra time, and then he'll get out. But if he goes and he fights this and they give him a lot of years, like, look, Shotty's got 15 years. 15 years is a long time.
Right.
You know, people can't do 15 years in jail, you know? When you're like 15, 16, 15 to 20, let's just say around that age, I remember back in the days, young kids, I could do 3, 4 years. And that's true. When they were young, they would do that. But as they started getting older and older, every guy I used to talk to on the street, you know, man, I'm 30 years old, I'm 25, I'm 30. I can't go back and do that time anymore, bro. I can't, man. I'm not built for it anymore because, you know, you become involved in a gang. Then you don't know if you get, you know, sexually assaulted in prison. Or if you have beef with other gangs in prison. It's a whole different world. So everybody's not built for that, you know? And that's what the problem is out here. So yes, do I believe that he has some options? He may have some options. But that, again, that's with him and his attorneys. They're going to sit down and see what's the best thing for him to do, because I would hope that his attorneys are going to give him the best advice and tell him either you take a plea or you go to trial with this. If you go to trial, this is what could happen. You know, you have to weigh the case and see how it is, you know?
Right. Now it seems like, I don't know if you paid attention, but it seems like he's not really built for it. He keeps complaining on Twitter how no one really out there supporting him, or writing him, shit like that. I don't mean to shit on the guy, but I just call it how I see it. He's like, he's kind of crying on Twitter.
Well, it's sad. It's sad that, see, it goes to show you too, man. You're gone and you're forgotten. Once you get locked up and you go to jail, people forget about you. That's just the way it is. You go in, what are they going to do for you? Is people going to send you commissary or do whatever? You may have a few guys do that. They may pay in you commissary, but a lot of people don't, man. Once you get caught out there and you get involved in something, you're not coming back. People are not going to go see you, or you're not coming back for a while. So people forget about you. They move on, because now, guess what? He's a guy that was a rapper that we knew, but now there's a new guy that took his place. See what I'm saying?
Right.
There's just a lot going on with a lot of these rap cases, and you see them a lot because, again, people believe that the perception is that a lot of these rappers are living this lifestyle, and they don't see that they have to supplement their income or supplement things by getting involved in other stuff where things happen, and it comes back to haunt them.
Right, there it is.
There it is, man. That's all I can tell you. That's my advice. That's just my opinion, and that's how it is.